Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Yu-Gi-Oh video for you. This one's going to be a little bit different, actually. I just found out about something that was linked in the Discord server, and my Discord server, the Hexlexplex, which is a link in the description below if you want to join, by the way. Regarding a very infamous card for probably not the reasons you might expect. Elemental Hero Neos is a card not known for its appearances in the anime, but rather for its lack of appearance in the card game since it was first printed. There have been no reprints of it, and there really are no references to it in even any other card art since the initial release or the show. But yeah, this was the tweet that was originally linked from Trevor Allen, MD. How it all began: artist sues Konami for $10 million for Elemental Hero Neos design copyright. How it ended: Konami is found not guilty and all charges are dismissed. So a lot of people have speculated that the lack of appearance of Neos in cards and art and just general Yu-Gi-Oh media was due to some legal reason. I know a lot of people thought that, I think there's an airline that's called Neos that people kind of speculated maybe that's what they were, in a legal struggle with. But the artist being the source definitely also makes sense here. So let's just see if there's any more info we can glean here. Wherefore plaintiffs have failed to state a viable cause of action. Their complaint should be dismissed with prejudice. They are not entitled to any damages, and defense should be awarded attorney fees and costs. Dated from June 24th, 2008. So that also tracks with like just the lack of appearance of Neos, right? Because Neos, let's see, I imagine that appeared in the anime and then thus in the card game just a few years beforehand. I don't remember the exact year off the top of my head. What set did Neos come out in? It was on the cover. It wasn't Tak Ev, that was Rainbow Dragon. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think there's some more info, in the replies here. It does seem that despite any wrongdoing per court, Konami did make the agreement to discontinue the use of Neos, explaining his absence in media. Okay, so again, more official confirmation that it is, in fact, for legal reasons, they were not able to use it. My guess is lawyer-to-lawyer settlement agreement without admission of guilt. Not documented here, though. Avoiding future lawsuits, brand protection, PR. Konami wants to keep a good image. That all makes sense to me, too. Yeah, I mean, I can't really imagine that there's really much point in risking this kind of stuff, like to reprint Neos or to use it, in art. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty integral part of the game as far as, it is one of the sort of iconic Neos fusions used by one of the main characters of, Yu-Gi-Oh! Of course, Jaden and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That said, it's, not that big of a deal if just one of them is missing in, the grand scheme of things. It's not like Neos is, a hugely competitive threat, so it definitely makes sense to just kind of keep it there, though. Man, the myth, the legend. YouTube content creator interview. I wonder, so is this the person? I wonder if they're just talking to somebody else in general. Okay, so I don't know if that was the person who did the art. 10 million over a barely mid card at best at the time is crazy. I love this comment. I love the idea of that it should be less specifically because the card is not played in the game. If it had been an ultra, if it had been for Max C, then maybe we could, the $10 million would make a little more sense. But for Neos, so this is always kind of funny. But yeah, an interesting conclusion to a long-time Yu-Gi-Oh mystery. $10 million seems kind of a lot to me. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not super familiar with how these sort of contracts work. Konami is pretty notoriously not open about the artists in general, which I will say I do think is pretty shitty. I really do think that it's the literal least common courtesy you could do to print the name of the artist who drew the art for the card on the card itself. I don't know why. I think the idea, because I mean, we see this in Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and literally every single other card game, but I don't know. I kind of think Konami might have this mentality, the sort of quote-unquote Disney mentality, where sometimes when it comes to, not obviously, major movies and stuff, but with some assets with Disney, they are not necessarily like hiding who did it, but they're not eager to be forthcoming because their ideal is that, oh, Disney made it, right? I know one of the biggest examples that I know about this is the Disney Channel theme song, which should get uncovered through YouTube documentaries, which are very good. But I mean, that sort of thing, right? So maybe Konami wants to have this sort of idea of like, oh, well, Konami owns the art. The art is, you know, Konami's. So leaving out the middleman of the artist in their eyes. But of course, that's just completely wrong. I think if you draw something and want to get credited for it, that's completely reasonable. And I also do think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity on Konami's part, right? Because a lot of the appeal of Pokemon cards to a lot of people, and Magic cards too, is the art. To the point where artists kind of become known for what they, you know, the cards they put out. And, you know, players will eagerly collect cards by that specific artist. In Magic the Gathering's case, there are some artists who actually end up having anti-appeal, but that would be a whole other topic for a whole other video. But the point I'm making is, if Konami would be a little more, you know, forthcoming about who is drawing the art on these cards, I think there could be a lot of incentive to, you know, not only have followings of artists, but also, I don't know if that has to specifically do with what happened here, but it might have helped alleviate a $10 million lawsuit. Maybe, possibly. I'm not 100% sure, but this is going to be a really short one. I don't even really do this kind of video format that often, but this, like, literally just broke out, what, like, not even an hour ago at this point. I saw that this was tweeted, so, yeah, again, huge thanks to, who in the Discord server actually linked that? Never in My Life. Huge thanks to Never in My Life for sharing that very, very interesting conclusion to a long-time Yu-Gi-Oh! Mystery. But, yep, thanks as always. It's a little short video, so I'm not going to bother putting the full outro, but thank you, of course, as always, to YouTube members and patrons who help the channel, just, you know, by helping us to be able to produce this kind of content at the rate that we do. So very, very, very appreciative. But, yep, that'll do it for now. This is XLEX signing out, hoping that you have a fantastic day.